Geb, god of the earth and father of the gods. Geb, one of the most ancient and significant deities in Egyptian mythology, stands as the primordial god of the earth. His influence permeates through the Egyptian cosmological narratives, where he is revered not only as the solid ground beneath one's feet, but also as a paternal figure, the father of the gods. Geb's domain over the earth encompasses fertility, sustenance, and the very fabric of creation. In this comprehensive exploration, we delve into the multifaceted role of Geb, tracing his origins, his significance in mythological tales, his relationship with other deities, and his lasting impact on ancient Egyptian culture and religion. Origins and iconography. Primordial beginnings. Geb's origins are deeply rooted in the Egyptian creation myths. He emerges from the primordial waters of Nun, the chaotic void from which all existence sprang. According to the Heliopolitan creation myth, Geb is the son of the air god Shu and the moisture goddess Tefnut. Shu and Tefnut, in turn, are the first divine couple created by the sun god Adam, making Geb part of the Ennead of Heliopolis, a group of 9 deities central to Egyptian theology. Symbolism and representation. In artistic depictions, Geb is often portrayed lying beneath the sky goddess Nut, his sister and consort. This imagery symbolizes the physical world, with Geb representing the earth and Nut the sky. Geb is typically depicted with green skin, symbolizing vegetation and fertility, and sometimes adorned with plants or animals to emphasize his connection to the natural world. In some representations, he is shown with a goose on his head, an allusion to his name, which means goose in ancient Egyptian. Geb in Egyptian mythology. The divine family. Geb's position as the father of gods is established through his progeny. He and Nut are the parents of Osiris, Isis, Seth, and Nephthys, 4 of the most important deities in the Egyptian pantheon. This divine lineage places Geb at the heart of many mythological narratives, particularly those involving creation, death, and the afterlife. The separation of earth and sky. One of the most significant myths involving Geb is the separation of the earth and sky. Initially, Geb and Nut were entwined in a perpetual embrace, which prevented creation from progressing. Their father, Shu, was tasked with separating them, creating a space for life to flourish. Shu lifted Nut above him, forming the sky, while Geb remained below as the earth. This separation is not just a physical act, but a fundamental cosmological event that allowed the universe to take shape. The contendings of Horus and Seth. Geb plays a crucial role in the mythological saga of Horus and Seth. After the murder of Osiris by his brother Seth, Geb becomes the arbiter in the ensuing struggle for the throne of Egypt. He ultimately declares Horus, the son of Osiris and Isis, as the rightful heir. This judgment not only resolves the conflict but also reinforces Geb's role as a just and authoritative figure in the divine order. Geb's influence on Egyptian religion and culture. Cult and worship. Geb's worship was not as widespread or as formalized as that of other major deities like Osiris or Ra. However, he was venerated in various localities, particularly in Heliopolis, where he was part of the influential Ennead. As the god of the earth, Geb was invoked in agricultural rites and ceremonies, where his blessings were sought for fertile soil and abundant harvests. Role in funerary practices. Geb's association with the earth extended to funerary practices. As the earth god, he was believed to receive the deceased into his embrace, providing a resting place for their bodies. Tombs and burial grounds were often seen as extensions of Geb's domain, reinforcing his role as a protector of the dead. In some texts, he is depicted as assisting in the judgment of the deceased, further emphasizing his connection to the afterlife. Geb and the natural world. Earthquakes and natural phenomena. In addition to fertility and vegetation, Geb was believed to have control over natural phenomena such as earthquakes. These were interpreted as signs of Geb's movements or expressions of his divine will. Such events reinforce the perception of Geb as a powerful and active force within the natural world. Connection to animals and plants. Geb's domain included all living things on the earth. He was closely associated with animals and plants, which were seen as manifestations of his life-giving power. The prosperity of crops and the well-being of livestock were attributed to Geb's favor. This connection underscored the symbiotic relationship between the earth and its inhabitants, with Geb as the nurturing force behind it all. Literary and artistic depictions, texts and inscriptions. Geb appears in numerous ancient Egyptian texts, including the pyramid texts, coffin texts, and the Book of the Dead. These writings often highlight his role in creation, his judgment in divine disputes, and his connection to the earth and afterlife. Inscriptions and hymns dedicated to Geb praise him as the provider of sustenance and the foundation of the world. Visual art. Artistic representations of Geb are found in temples, tombs, and various artifacts. He is commonly depicted in a reclining position, symbolizing his identity as the earth. This imagery is sometimes accompanied by scenes of creation, the separation of earth and sky, or interactions with other deities. These visual depictions served not only as religious symbols, but also as educational tools, conveying complex theological concepts through art. Geb in comparative mythology. Earth deities in other cultures. The concept of an earth deity is common in many cultures worldwide. Comparing Geb to similar deities in other mythologies reveals both unique aspects and universal themes. For instance, in Greek mythology, Gaia represents the earth and shares some similarities with Geb, such as being a primordial entity and mother of gods. Similarly, in Hindu mythology, Prithvi is the personification of the earth, bearing parallels to Geb's role as a nurturing and life-giving force. Syncretism and influence. Egyptian mythology, including the figure of Geb, was influenced by neighboring cultures through trade, conquest, and cultural exchange. Syncretism, the blending of religious beliefs, led to the integration of Geb's characteristics with those of other deities. This exchange enriched the religious landscape of the ancient world, contributing to the evolution of mythological narratives. Modern interpretations and legacy. Academic studies. Modern scholarship on Geb focuses on his role within the context of Egyptian religion and mythology. Researchers examine ancient texts, archaeological findings, and comparative mythology to understand Geb's significance and his impact on Egyptian culture. These studies provide insights into the ancient worldview and the ways in which the Egyptians perceived and interacted with their environment. Popular culture. Geb's legacy extends into popular culture, where he appears in various forms of media, including literature, films, and video games. These portrayals often draw on his mythological attributes, presenting him as a powerful and enigmatic figure. While sometimes fictionalized, these representations keep the memory of Geb and Egyptian mythology alive in contemporary imagination. Conclusion. Geb's multifaceted role as the god of the earth and father of the gods underscores his importance in Egyptian mythology. As the solid foundation of the world, Geb embodies fertility, sustenance, and the natural order. His interactions with other deities, his influence on religious practices, and his enduring legacy highlight the profound impact he had on ancient Egyptian culture and beyond. Understanding Geb's significance provides a deeper appreciation of the rich and complex tapestry of Egyptian mythology, where the earth itself is a divine and living entity.